This is drama, so everyone get ready. It's gossip time. Let's go.
Former 49ers cornerback Richard Sherman took to Twitter to say that, hell no, Matthew Stafford not a Hall of Famer, that he just has good numbers because any quarterback who's been in the NFL 10 years in this era inevitably ends up with good numbers, doesn't have the accolades. What do you think of former 49ers cornerback Richard Sherman saying that?
I'm surprised he got involved, but then it is Richard Sherman. As much as I love him, he loves to talk, and that's part of his game. Matthew Stafford's not claiming to be a Hall of Famer. I don't think he is yet. I think he could be. I think he wins another Super Bowl. You certainly have to talk about it. Yeah, he got to the Super Bowl and won because of his defense and the team around him, in the same way Jimmy Garoppolo did that back when we faced Patrick Mahomes. We almost did it again. Sometimes you win in spite of your quarterbacks, but Stafford is better than Garoppolo. I don't think he's a Hall of Famer right now, but if he continues to improve and he does what he did this year, 1 or 2 more times in his career, he's got McVay as a coach. So Richard Sherman's argument was basically like, all you got to do is make like 1 Pro Bowl, not even get a Super Bowl MVP. He basically dropped everything that Stafford doesn't have, and then he started listing things that he has. He also sees the similarity of the Super Bowl ring being 1-to-1 and everything like that. So
feels personal. Feels personal. What's the deal?
Personal.
I don't know Stafford like that, but it seems like
he's the Detroit Lions quarterback.
He had to play for the freaking Lions.
Can I hate Stafford for winning a Super Bowl? No. This guy served his time in hell being the Lions quarterback. That's what that is. To play in that franchise as the quarterback is serving your time in hell. And he first season out of there, he wins a Super Bowl. I think that even though I think that Stafford has 2 modes, really good and sucking. It's like he can go from one to the next. And Sherman pointed that out. He's right when he's like, yeah, he makes a few decent throws. Okay, he makes better than decent throws. He makes a few diamonds out there. He throws some dimes. And then he does. He throws some boneheaded head-scratching plays. He was this close to being seen as a failure, except for Mr. Tart needs to go play some baseball and learn how to catch. But really, that's what Sherman's basing his arguments on, is that basically the whole Tart thing answers the fact that Stafford is no good. And you know what? Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharp both got together on the fact that they're not happy with all of his pick sixes. But let's see what he does next year. We cannot write him off as a Hall of Fame contender.
Here's why Richard Sherman is unreliable on this topic. So he says that Matthew Stafford makes a few good throws, but essentially makes bad decisions. Well, okay, that's kind of correct, but it's kind of underselling it. And on the other hand, Richard Sherman is a huge Jimmy Garoppolo fan. So it seems to me that Richard Sherman probably thinks that Jimmy Garoppolo, and the way he described Stafford is the way I would describe Jimmy Garoppolo.
Yes,
he makes a few nice throws, but he's a negative. Stafford does more than make a few nice throws. He can make as nice a throws as essentially any quarterback in the league. His arm is as good as any quarterbacks in the league.
Absolutely. Well, that's the one thing that I consider Stafford to be elite in. That is my favorite attribute that he has, is his ability to allow Cooper Kupp and OBJ to get open, and that's what they do.
And we don't know what kind of accolades he would have had if he were drafted by, say, Seattle instead of Detroit. So I think it's kind of unfair to be that simple and reductionist about it. And we'll see. I mean, his career isn't over. He played 1 year out of Detroit, won a Super Bowl. He may put together the accolades to get himself to the Hall of Fame in the future. I agree with Sherman in the sense that if he retired today, I don't think he'd be a Hall of Famer. But
to get into the Hall of Fame yet, but he's absolutely in his portfolio.
If he wins 1 more Super Bowl, he will. I'll tell you that. Yes. Tell you that.
And the thing is, he had Megatron, and so a lot of people. I've actually heard the argument that he's not that good. He had Megatron. Well, I would argue that Megatron and Stafford only had each other.
Jimmy Ward said that on my channel this offseason. He's like, you had Calvin Johnson. Like, what was the problem in Detroit? Well, I think Stafford answered the question. There were big problems. There was no defense. There was no run game ever.
It is interesting that Ward kind of set himself up for failure, but he delivered because he preyed on Stafford all year. He had 3 picks from him.
He did. So it wasn't Ward's fault, definitely. Dakota Mule says, why not looking for a young center? Yeah, that too. That too. If they can get a young center.
That too. That's the problem.
Is Brandon Cooks available for the cheap? Not for the cheap. He's a really good player. He's a starter. I don't think the Niners could get him for the cheap, unless I'm wrong. Yo, I have that same Spider-Man poster.
That is a classic.
Yes, classic. That's right. Jimmy to Browns. Good D, 37 million salary cap, one quarterback away. Then why would they get Jimmy home?
Ouch.
One quarterback away, huh? Just like kind of like the Niners who are moving on from Jimmy. I'm just saying.
You've been waiting all season to say this. You've been biting your tongue on Jimmy Garoppolo all year. I can tell. This is like, yes, I can finally let it go. I can let it go. You're like a kid on this. Like, it's just like you finally have been set free, basically.
Yeah, I had to like sit there really quietly during the playoffs, been like, can't be happening. But it all worked out the way it was supposed to.
My household was like this during the playoffs. That's Jimmy Garoppolo. Every mistake he made, that's Jimmy. That the whole everyone. I had my friends who don't even watch football, and they were asking me questions like, "Why did he do that?" And my response was, "Well, that's Jimmy Garoppolo." And you know what? I hate to say it, but when you're watching the game, okay, you know your emotions are there. And I remember saying every single time, "That's Jimmy. He's not that good." Like just every single time, my friends. I'm thinking my friends don't know anything about football. They can see it for themselves. You know, like was terrible. But, you know, nothing against Jimmy. But, yeah, I can tell.
OG says it's all Cup. He saved them 3 straight games, not even talking this season. Well, you know, maybe if Kyle Shanahan had called one play for Deebo Samuel with 13 minutes left in the final 13 minutes of the NFC Championship game, it could have been all Deebo. You know? Anyway.
What I hope for Kyle Shanahan is that his career is not a question mark of if you had run that play. I really hope he just grows because, you know, it really comes down to that. Can he grow and learn from these? And if he can, hey, there are a lot of teams that don't get to the Super Bowl and certainly don't get to the championship game two out of 3 years. But it needs to trend upwards. It absolutely does. He needs to learn.